Hi, I'm Jen Turrell, and you're about to watch a Mastering Money Matters weekly blab with the women from my Mastering Money Matters group. This is a small group for women who are freelancers, entrepreneurs, and small business owners where we discuss the specifics of the finances that apply to you. We talk about launch cycles, irregular income, quarterly estimated taxes, and other things that are a little different from your general W-2 employment situation. So if this applies to you, come on in and join the conversation. Thanks for joining me, guys. We'll have to see if anyone else does. I didn't manage to promote it all that much right ahead of time like I usually try to. I was on calls. I scheduled them two back to back right before this. But how are you guys doing?
Good. I was laughing at your comment that you're in the pajamas because I just told Jen that I have like a plumber handyman in my house and I haven't been able to get in my bathroom to brush my hair or do anything today. So I got clothes on. I haven't gotten any further than that. And now, of course, my dog is asking to go out because you just press record, because that's how timing goes.
Oh, you need to go out right now?
Well,
the dog?
We'll see if she'll be distracted for a little while.
Well, if you need to, you can go ahead. We can talk to Cate and trade off. But thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's so nice to see your faces. I can't tell if the internet is doing very well today or not. So
I'm showing up in slow-mo on mine.
Yeah, you look a little slow-mo on mine too.
I've had your internet issues lately.
My internet. I know. I actually got worried because it didn't let me on at first. I was like, oh no, is my internet bad again? We're kind of in the 21st century, but every now and then we drop back into last century, it feels like.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Well, it's actually interesting, isn't it? Because yesterday when the power went out here, I was totally fine about it, except I realized everything we do is electricity and internet. So I suddenly went, oh, I can't use my coffee machine, and I can't, I don't know, like I just couldn't do anything. And Dave had actually got a generator. So we had a generator at the back of the house that was powering up the refrigerator and my computer. So I could use my computer, except the internet was really slow because I'm not really sure why, but it was just really slow and everything was hanging. And it made me really frustrated. And then I was like, dude, there's no power in the whole area. And you're fortunate to have a generator. And this is how it was, not so long ago. We didn't have, well, we had internet, but, we had to dial in. And I remember that.
Remember that noise, the dial in?
Yeah, and I remember doing it when I used to travel for conferences when I was working as an academic. And it was so funny, I'd be plugging it into some random European phone. And and now now it's so easy. It's like Wi-Fi everywhere. I mean, we've got Wi-Fi in our city, free Wi-Fi everywhere. So yeah, everything's changed.
I thought of that last time I was traveling and we were struggling on the airplane with the airplane Wi-Fi because, now there's airplanes with Wi-Fi. Yeah. And that's new, and yet people were getting so frustrated with it. And I was like, wow, just, a few months ago, we didn't have Wi-Fi. You had to turn off all your devices. Remember when you have to turn off all your devices on the airplane? And now they let you totally hook up to the internet and you have to pay something, but yeah.
That was when I was in the US, that was my favorite thing, actually not losing any time flying from the East Coast to the West Coast. I loved that because we don't have that in Australia. We don't have any Wi-Fi on planes. So I felt really, really ripped off when I was flying back to Australia because I thought, where's the Wi-Fi on this damn long flight? I have to do something as old-fashioned as watch a movie or talk to my kid.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what we can do these days. Like this. You know what? I thought of this the other day. I remember when I was a kid watching the Jetsons. Did you guys watch the Jetsons?
Kind of.
Yeah. I did. Well, they had where they could talk to the TV screen, and the TV screen could talk back to them. You know, you could have a conversation with someone somewhere else through a TV screen. And that seemed like just kind of unfathomable for me when I was a kid, that you could ever talk to a screen and get back. Oh, hey, Lisa joined. Hi, Lisa. So yeah, but now we can do this. We can sit here, we can talk to each other about our businesses. And you both have some exciting things going on. It was one of the reasons I wanted you to hop on here. Hey, and Lisa's coming on. And Lisa has an exciting program going on right now too. So who wants to go first?
Hi, Lisa. You were on my time with me.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi. How are you, Cate?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
It's very, very early in the morning for Cate and middle of the day for the rest of us. Cate, do you want to go first since it's so early in the morning for you?
No, I don't want to go first.
Okay. Jeanette?
That's the reason. I need to warm up a bit.
Oh, okay. Okay, who wants to go first?
Lisa was last to show up, so I think that means she has to go first.
Oh.
And I know all about your program because I am in your program, Lisa. You ready to tell us all about it?
Yeah, so I'm doing a monthly decluttering program where I help people go through their entire houses from stem to stern and declutter and organize their stuff. So it's like little bite-size assignments that are really meant to be things that you can easily do in 15 minutes a day. And, you know, a lot of people, like when they want to organize their houses, it's just like, oh my God, shoot me. This is going to take me forever to do. And, you know, I don't even know where to begin. So I strategically help people go through their houses in a way that get them the maximum impact for the minimum effort. So I just started the program about 5 years ago. We've done our bedrooms. We're still in our bedrooms. We're working on, we did the closets, and we're doing the dresses right now. And then we're going to be working on paperwork next. Everybody's favorite. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great place to go. So, and what I like about this was I loved that book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And I thought, oh my God, that sounds like such a miracle to go through it in one fell swoop. But I feel like the reality for most of us, especially if you have kids and dogs and pets and violin lessons and school pickups and all that, like who can actually do one fell swoop through the whole house? Like getting every possession you own out and holding it in your hand sounds like a really nice idea. But yeah, so I was really proud of going through your program the day I did all my jeans.
Yeah.
I could go through my jeans and casual pants in one fell swoop. You know, like that's the kind of, I was like, oh yeah, I can get out every single pair and try them on and then get rid of the ones that don't fit, finally. And you know what I did, Lisa? This is one of them. I bought 2 new. I found my favorite pair ever. And I had just worn it through on the inner thigh is where mine wear through because I have no thigh gap. Does anyone actually have a thigh gap? I don't think real humans have thigh gaps. So anyways, I wear them on my inner thighs. So I went online and I ordered 2 more pairs of super dark wash, which I'm showing you again, of my favorite pair of jeans. And I was like, now I have 2 new. I got rid of a few more of the ones that didn't quite fit right because these are my favorite in terms of they spark joy with how they make my butt look.
I'm all for sparkling joy with but. Yeah. You know, like the whole point of this is like, right, we all have stuff that we have to deal with every single day of our lives. Why not make it, you know, why not upgrade? You know, like I'm a lucky bee, as you guys know. And like, and that's part of why I was so attracted to Denise's Lucky Bitch program is because she's all about upgrades. And that's exactly what I teach people. It's like, you know, instead of having 50 pair of pants and you only ever wear 2, buy 3 pair of the awesome ones that cost, you know, $200, but you actually wear them instead of buying. But I love them. Your return on investment because your cost per wear is practically nil. Whereas, you know, a lot of people will shop at, you know, they'll only buy things on sale or they'll only, you know, go to thrift stores and get really cool stuff, but then they don't wear it. So it doesn't really be good if you're not enjoying the stuff that is in your closet and it's just taking up room. So, you know, like I know it's hard to like pay the $200 or whatever for a pair of pants. But if you really break that down, wouldn't it be way better to save up some money, start, culling some of your expenses somewhere else and get something that really, really feels good. And then so every time you pull it out of your closet, you're like, yeah, my butt looks good. I don't think you can put a on that feeling.
Yeah.
So-
I like that. I love the capsule wardrobe idea on there too, which I am so far from.
Yeah, most people are. I just wanted to introduce that idea, that like what it would be like to have that. And, I think the majority of us would not do that, and that's fine. But just sort of like shining a light on the excess. Like, why do we actually have all of these things? Why are we actually using them, loving them, enjoying them, whatever? Or we're hanging on to them for, because of all the mind chatter. Oh, somebody gave it to me, or I bought it on sale, or this was a waste of money. I can't possibly give it away because it will further make me feel bad because I spent, X amount of dollars on something that I don't wear. But the trade-off is that then you have all this stuff that you really don't like or use.
Totally. So if people want to find out more about your Blueprint, they're called Blueprint program, where do they go?
It's on my website, which is clearcalmspace.com/blueprint.
Okay, I'm typing that in, clearcalmspace.com/blueprint. Oh, I put an E on the end of that. Darn it.
So can people still join that? Lisa?
Oh yeah, it's ongoing. So we're going to tackle the whole house. Like at any point, you can join in and like say if you start in the middle of, I don't know, we're working on bathrooms, I'm making this up, and you really wanted to work on your closet, you have access to all of the assignments and all of the discussions and any of the support that went along with that, and you can do it asynchronously. So if like Jen, if you decide that you want to go back and because you were busy with the girls or something and you just didn't look at any of the emails or any of that stuff, you can go back and just do it. And because we're all in the same boat, and a lot of people not everybody's stuff is going to be the same. Not everybody is going to have the same volume of stuff. Not everybody is going to have the same process in terms of decision making. Some people are like get it out, get it out, get it out. Other people are like, well, with every single thing. So it's really made to be very, very flexible. So anybody can jump in whenever they want to, and they can just dip in and take what they need and dip out. If life gets busy, that's fine. So yeah, come join. It's fun.
Oh, look at this. I'm trying to hide it from you. I'm jumping around in my seat. Like,
no, it looks cool. Tell me what we're looking at.
Yeah, I like the black.
Blackboard's awesome.
Not the shambles in front of it. Actually, this is my boundaries course, but I'm releasing that next month. I was going to release it, but then I decided to open the moon circles from February, so I just put it on hold for a little bit. So this sometimes I wonder why I'm doing what I'm doing, and so I decided that I would paint the wall in blackboard paint, and then I would write on it. So then I knew when I had that crisis of, are people really interested in this? I would look at it and I would remember, of course. So that's what it is. And it's actually really good because sometimes when I can't think of something it's not that I can never think of something to post, because that's not true, because, I just wake up with inspiration. But sometimes I think what would be helpful given what I'm reading online or whatever. So I just look up there and off I go.
Cool. It's very visual.
I'm a really visual person. So I feel like I always need to have stuff kind of around me to remind me of, like I've got flow charts and pictures, and that's how I learn. Yeah. And I find that really hard to juggle in my study, because I think some people work really neatly in their space, but I need to have the stuff around me. You know, I've got like, you know, oracle cards here and then a book here and stuff on the floor. And I'm like, how do you make that neat? Maybe you don't.
Like this, you mean? Like there's like this like a whole stack of cars, and I have, it always looks like that. We're sitting in my living room right now, and this is my desk, which is my coffee table. So my stuff is always floating around the house. It's never organized. I mean, it's organized, but there's always stuff out. It's always in use. So I won't show you this. It's just a bunch of coffee cups and stuff. But yeah, I mean, my space probably looks a lot like yours, and I'm organized, right? It's because, but I know where my stuff is, but I need to have access to it, and that's the stuff that inspires me. So it has to stay.
That's the biggest thing I took from the life-changing magic, was that everything having a home, what I'm trying to drill into my children right now. Not so much that it stays clean all the time, but if you actually know where this thing goes and it always goes in that place, then you can either put it away or find it when you need it. That was the biggest thing for me.
And that's a big thing in our house too. And actually, I'm the serial offender, because I lose something every day. I lose my keys and my handbag, and probably twice a day. It's really it's impressive. I just don't put it in.
You need to have.
I need the course.
Yeah.
There you go.
Come into Lisa's thing.
You totally should, Cate. Because
visually, I have to point out that my method, and Jen has seen this for tracking sales in my course, is actually a colored in star chart. It's supposed to be a child's piano practice chart. So whenever I sell one, I color in a star. That's my visual tracking device right there. It's really nice.
Watercolored in.
That's a great idea.
I did a similar thing over here with my Post-its.
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
But see, instead of I use whiteboards instead of blackboards. And actually, this one that looks blank right there, what's written on the top of each of those columns are the chapters of my novel. I got that far. So Jeanette and I are working on my novel. We haven't really started yet. But Jeanette, I cleared that off and decided, because I had all of our record labels there, but I moved that into Stu's studio, because I was like, I do the finances and the social media for the record label, but he actually does the releases and everything. So I was like, I'm going to get this ready for me and Jeanette to bang out this novel this year. So there are my 5 chapters.
And organization, even this, not even just the space around you, but mental is such a challenge. So I'm trying to force right now my right brain to make friends with my left brain. And so I actually started this week with like a free project management software and putting all my clients in and having, you saw it, I'm so proud of me.
I signed up. I put tasks in for you.
I got thanks. You can boss me around for
you. Awesome. So you know what? Since we just saw Jeanette's star chart, why don't we talk about that? Because that looks like the sales are going awesome. I actually have my copy of it just printed out in a notebook over here. Let's hear it. Let's tell us about what you're selling.
Well, you're the only one. You're one of the few people who has a copy of it, because you got an advanced copy. So nobody else. Yeah, you're special. So this really started for me. I worked for the last almost 2 years in content marketing in the tech world at Infusionsoft, and got laid off the week before Thanksgiving. Went to work and didn't have a job anymore. So kind of went into a tailspin. And the funny thing is, I'd never wanted a job. That was my safe and secure thing, right? That was a sensible thing as a single mother I was supposed to do, was get a job, not live in my little creative world anymore. And so what the layoff did was effectively shatter the myth that job was safe and secure. And so then I was kind of, okay, there's some wide open space around that now. But I'd so lost touch with myself along the way. Like I was so living not my own vision of my life at all. I was living the vision of what I thought I should do. This is the sensible thing. So I sat down one night and I started writing these questions down that I needed to answer to get back in touch with myself. And then as I started writing them, I thought, well, this is more than for me. I'll make it a blog post. And then I started writing a blog post and I thought, this is more than a blog post. I'm going to make a little PDF for people who read the blog post. And as I was making the PDF, and I thought, no, this is going to be something bigger. And it's interesting that, you know, Jen's main focus is on women and money, because what I had to break through to do this was break through this big block. I hadn't sold anything to anyone in 2 years. And so it was this terrifying experience to make this whole beautiful thing. Like, as long as I was in creation mode, I was full steam ahead and on absolute fire. And then it got to the point of publishing the sales page, and I completely froze. And we've been working on unraveling some of that together with Jen, all the issues I have around money and making myself visible and all of that stuff. So basically, it's a 30-day course. I wanted it to be super accessible. I wanted to have it help me put me in front of new people and bring new people into my work. So it's 30 days, $30, and 30 questions to help bring you closer to your wild heart. And I actually haven't answered the questions yet, so I'm going to be doing the questions along with the people in the group. I didn't do my writing. So. No, I've written the whole course, so I kind of know what I'm going to write.
To have you do it along with the rest.
But yeah, I wanted to have the journey along with the rest of you guys officially. So I'm going to write those pieces as we go through. And so I'm super excited about it. There are 94 people who have signed up, which is just amazing. I set a goal. You know, Jen coaxed me through the beginning of this, and I set a goal of 100, and we start on Sunday, on Valentine's Day officially. And so I think I just might beat my goal and we got stars. So that's really, really exciting.
That's awesome. For anyone on here who's not familiar with your creative work, do you want to tell them what you do and what you help people like me do?
Yeah. Well, I am first and foremost a writer. That's my life breath and the thing that keeps me here in the world. I also help other people get their stories out of lockdown and tell them. And I'm moving more and more into helping other people, whether they call themselves writers or not, who have to get words out into the world, do more than just writing them, but actually producing them. So taking in the content marketing side and the social media side and the audience growth and the email marketing, all the things I did for my job at Infusionsoft, and bringing that into my one-on-one clients and my work online too. So things are changing and shifting, and it's a really exciting time.
Big time. Oh, cool.
That's me.
Yay.
I'll type my stuff in down here.
Nice.
What was that? I missed something.
That's my website.
Oh, Jeanette's putting in there. Okay. Yeah, if you want to go check out Jeanette's stuff, the 30-day course, it has its own navigation.
Second one is the course.
Yeah. Wild Heart course. I just clicked on it so I could make sure I knew what everyone was seeing. Yeah, that looks great, Jeanette. Awesome. And she has lots of other things you can look at.
Yeah, thank you for letting me come on today and talk about it. You know, I always need to be coaxed. I'm not. Yeah, I'm great at making other people do this stuff, but.
I think, you know, one of the things that I really like about working with you, because I'm working with Jeanette on a couple things, like the novel we're pushing off a bit. She's helping me with my manifesto right now to really get clear on my bigger message about women and money and freedom and security and safety and protection and equal rights and all those sorts of things that are important to me in terms of women, children, and people with disabilities, which we're going to get to.
There are some exciting things coming from her too.
This week, right? We're going to work on this some more. But part of it was from hiring people to do copywriting. And even though those people were good and could write things that made sense, there was a lot of times where just the tone was a little off the mark from my feelings about the thing, you know, or it would go more towards the salesy side, which obviously we all have to sell, otherwise we're not in business. But it's something I see with a lot of women in their work. Like, a lot of us, obviously we need to make some money off of it, but kind of the overall thing is our big theme in life. Like, I have 2 kids with disabilities. I come from a background of abuse. Like, safety, security, and rights for women is so much more important to me than just making money off of it. And if I was just trying to make money, that's not really the place to go. So trying to communicate that to other people to kind of understand that, while yes, that we're services, there are some transactional relationships here. It's really much, much bigger than that. And getting that into your words is so hard for a lot of us. And that is something that Jeanette is fantastic at, is helping us write the words, and then she helps arrange them, pulls out the gems, and it helps us get our message across. one, we can save money by not paying super expensive copywriters who, a lot of people hire copywriters because we think we don't know how to sell, copywriters can sell, but often what people buy is us. So if we're using the words of copywriters that don't really get us, there's going to be a disconnect somewhere. So that's why I'm so supportive of what Jeanette is doing, because I think it's helping a lot of us be much realer and truer about what we're doing and not just handing off our message to somebody else.
And I think also what working on it yourself, and I think you're coming up against some of this, is you didn't know how big your message was, did you? You had no idea. And we still have more to push through on that. But it is way bigger, and it's way more. My dog, is like trying to climb up here right now. Do you want some screen time?
I think each of us here, that's true. Like Lisa, you're much more than just an organizer. Like I love that you have the word space healer in that, because I've read articles about organizers really having to deal with almost like psychology with their clients, because
there's our guest.
Letting go of stuff. Hi there. Working through to things, our feelings about family members who've departed. There's so much when you go into someone's home and deal with their actual possessions. Like helping people work with that is way bigger than just like, let's put some things in boxes or stack them up, And Cate too, like when I first met you, what I knew more about was you being a lawyer. And I slowly learned about all of the rest of this. I mean, the boundaries thing is so important. The woo-woo stuff, I had no idea about at first, which I think we'll get to in a second here, won't we? Yeah. I mean, but sure. Your overall message is way bigger than law or just boundaries. Like the mediation stuff seems so important between people as well. But so I think like for all of us, there is this struggle to really communicate what we're trying to do, what we want to do, what we want to focus on, how we want to connect with people.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I'm being
I think that brings us
away.
Should we talk?
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay. Cate, your turn. Let's talk about what you're doing.
Okay. I think that's really interesting, and just about, the perception that we have about ourselves and other, the copywriting stuff was really huge for me, because I've paid quite a few people to write copy for me, and they've written beautiful copy. But it was interesting because I've kind of gone on this journey since I came online, kind of trying to find, I came online specifically to do what I'm doing now. But somewhere along the line, as I was, had a coach here and did something here, I just kept going, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I could do that, because I've got this really varied background. I am a lawyer, and predominantly I've been a mediator for 30 years. And so practicing law, I didn't really like practicing law because it's too adversarial for me. But mediation is that good space between, teaching people how to communicate, facilitating conflict, and helping people get resolution. So I came online but I'd grown my practice offline for such a long time. And I thought online would be a perfect space to do that. And really what I do is hold space for women to kind of, I hold a space for women to be rather than do. That sounds like my house.
A squeaky toy.
Mine burst in here just before I jumped on the blab. I had a cat and a dog running here. I've got so many. The squeaky toy.
I apologize, ladies.
Oh, no, it's all good. I forgot where I was because it's 5:30. Holding space. So yeah, so I felt like I came through a haze. I was getting this boundary course set up, and then I thought, women kept saying to me that they just wanted to slow down in a space that, and I think what you're saying, Lisa, is so beautiful, because it's nice to have a space where you can hold women so that they can sort of unpack where they want to be. And I think there's a lot of rushing and like kind of, I don't know, like there's just all this noise and stuff. And I don't even think it means it's because I'm an introvert. I think that even if you're an extrovert, sometimes you just need to slow down a bit so that you can get a bit of clarity. but we're kind of always pushing and hustling. I mean, I do that. I know that I do that. And that's that kind of masculine energy that, you know, I think we don't identify as a masculine energy because we don't like to say, oh, that's my masculine energy because we're women, so we want to be feminine. But it's not innately feminine to kind of hustle and push. Like we're feminine energy is kind of quiet and calming. And so, you know, we've all got a balance of both. It's just how we get it in sync so that we can use the masculine energy when we need to and hold the space in the feminine when we need to. So I was happily doing my boundaries course, and then I just thought, can I swear? Fuck it. I just thought, I'm just going to like set this circle up because I had all the stuff already created from July. I just hadn't done it. And I just really it wasn't a risk, but I took a risk because really I just went, oh, in the new moon, I'm going to hold this circle. You know, but what was interesting about that was as soon as I decided I was going to do that, I wrote all my own copy because I am a writer really at heart. I mean, that is one of my joys, and I write prolifically. I mean, my posts are pretty epic, but I write a lot. So it was no issue for me, but I couldn't do it when I was in another space where I didn't feel completely aligned. So I couldn't believe how I just churned out my emails, churned out all of this stuff really quickly because suddenly you're in a space where you can actually feel, you can say exactly what you're doing, and it's really easy to write it. So I think that's what I wanted to say about the copyright issue. When you're actually in the space that you're totally aligned, it's not so hard. I mean, you know, if writing comes easy to you. I mean, when I reflect back, I'm like, why did I pay people to write my copy that not even using because I'm not really going to do those things? But it doesn't matter because it was all part of the journey. And I got some beautiful copy. So what I'm doing is holding monthly moon circles. They're all separate, but I mean, the idea is that it's a year of traveling through the moon cycles to slow stuff down so that women can be rather than do. So women can spend time being, you know, sitting, being. And so our first month is nourish because I figure that, you know, to start off something like this, we need to nurture and heal a little bit. And then our second month in March will be atone because I think women need to forgive themselves a lot. And I want to hold that space for women to forgive because it holds us back. That stuff holds us back. And so I want to create that space and hold that space for women so that they can, you know, share their vision with the world, connect with their community, create their own sisterhood, live authentically, you know, whatever they want to do. You know, I just think it's important that there are spaces in this online world where it can be quiet and slow and we can be rather than do. There's plenty of doing out there, but, you know, I think there's not a lot of being. So that's what I'm doing. I got 9 people, which I'm really happy about. I think it's a space where you can't clutter it up really quickly because you need to hold it in a way that's, you know, sacred and quiet, and, you know, it'll change over time, but I'm really happy with that. And it's a beautiful group of women. So we kicked off on the 8th of February, so 2 days ago, on the new moon, and I created a beautiful crystal bridge. I'm sorry, I'm putting on air conditioning. It's really hot in Australia. It's like, oh.
And we're like,
so hot. I know. It's so crazy.
It was 86 here yesterday.
It was what?
What?
Where are you?
86. When I got in my car to get the girls from school, it was 86 degrees. It's very sad.
We still have snow on the ground up here, Jeanette. Jeanette and I are in the same.
Well, I'll be there on Friday.
Oh my gosh, this is the weekend you're coming up. Oh, great. Okay. I'm so excited. Jeanette's daughter has a hockey tournament up here, and I'm excited because we're going to hang out. And we need to plan my photo shoot later. But back to Cate's stuff for just a second. You know, Cate, like when I started my Mastering Money Matters group, this group, my goal for my first month was 10 people. I was like, I want to get 10 people in first, feel it out, see how it goes, see what people need, see what they want. And I've also noticed like that's changed over time. Like we're working on changing everything right now because what I was delivering at first, everyone needed these modules every month. It's been too much for people, to be honest. Like not everyone's been making it through them. So I'm planning on switching things over kind of closer to what Lisa's doing with your daily prompts. Maybe not quite daily, more like weekly, I'm thinking. But yeah, like as different people come and go in groups, I think the needs change and the wants change and the interactions change. And it is hard because even with that, because I interact with all of you guys, both in my group and your groups, it is interesting to see how information comes to us, how it can be overloaded, how like things that go into my inbox, I check on my phone a lot, but I rarely get under, like I often have 400 unread messages in your inbox, and that's with Roll.me and SaneBox both operating. So like, yeah, it is hard to know like how to cut through all this noise to communicate with the people who do sign up, pay, and want to be there and hear it, and really help them get the results they're looking for in it. And can I say one more thing about this doing thing you were talking about, Cate? So I see the word hustle used online a lot. And yesterday, someone posted something about the hustle, you know, like hustle, like hustle or die, or like, you know, everyday hustle kind of thing. And I wondered why I always had this slight cringe with the word. And it came to me that my first experience of that word was in elementary school when a boy brought his father's Hustler magazine to school. And I was like, that is why I don't like that word. Like my idea of what hustle is a, like, to me, that was pretty shockingly pornographic at the time because I was in grade school. I hadn't been exposed. I don't think I don't even remember. I just remember it being pretty full on in your face. Yeah. So yeah, I think I have this idea of it, not only of it not being a positive feminine thing, of it actually be kind of exploitative. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, the idea of hustle. It also seems like, what am I thinking of? Like gamblers. Like these are sort of the slight negative connotations I get from the word. Not to say that people who say that they hustle, you know, they just mean they're working. I realize that. I know they're not saying they do any of those other things, but I've just never liked the word itself, you know? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the word, I think it's really interesting about the choice of words, because when it's interesting that you had the memory of hustler, because when I came online, I felt like I was being a prude because I was like, oh, like what you're hustling, because here hustling has a kind of a weird connotation. So I found it, I had to kind of really investigate what I was reading, because like I was reading all these things into it. I think that's interesting about the cultural differences sometimes between, you know, even though we're, you know, very close, there's a lot of cultural differences between the UK, Australia, and the US. And yeah, I didn't understand it. Totally. And the thing is, when I read hustle, I panic, even though I'm not even actually going to hustle. I read it and go, oh, dude, I got to go. And so, and I've even used it sometimes when I've been in a bit of a, raw, I'm going to get this, I'm going to hustle this out. And then I'm like, then I feel like, oh, I need a nap now, you know. So
I just love that. That was the greatest.
That's about the extent of my, yeah, well, clearly that's the extent of my hustling, which is why, you know, it took me a long time to get something actually out.
I think for me, I've been kind of reclaiming the word and like work, you know, as I work on my money stuff and I work on my feelings about, like, I love helping other people market, but I had such a block with doing it for myself.
Yeah.
and I would do it, but I would always have this feeling about it, like separating myself from the process of marketing myself. And so I've been trying to kind of reclaim that whole process, including that word, kind of the way we've reclaimed the word queer as a positive thing when it used to be a negative thing.
Or bitch.
And so I am full on in the hustle now, you know, I am a single mother and this is it. And so I'm actually playing with that word in a different way and finding like the power in it, whereas I didn't before necessarily. Like that was a word that I didn't have necessarily strong feelings about, but it was definitely a word that I didn't relate to me. So now I'm in it. I'm hustling.
But you know, it's interesting. Oh, sorry. It's interesting because I agree. I understand it now because now I'm doing something that I'm completely aligned with, and it all matches with who I am. I'm like, oh, well, really got to get my ass into gear here, and maybe I should call it ass into gear. It's like I've got to really get my ass into gear and tell people that I'm doing this because I really want them to have the opportunity to access this if that's what they want to do. And so I need to, and I didn't feel sleazy or dirty about it. I just felt like, and I kind of understand now why people hustle, but I think Shelley's just said it has a slightly dishonest undertone. I think it does in the sense also because we're in a culture of, well, this is my observation, a culture of, you know, I'm hustle. And then you get to the end of a launch and I'm going to be transparent with my numbers. And here, people who paid me, I earned $1 million and it's all your money. But I don't, I guess it's all that kind of like, I think it's a lawyer in me. I can't change it. It's a forensic, you know, analysis of, but you've just said that, huh? And, you know, so it's like, you know, you've hustled because you were this and now you're going and spending this money and driving this car. That's all cool. But these people that you're telling are your audience that paid you the money. So like, it just feels weird to me. I don't know. It just feels a bit too brash or something.
Well, I think it depends on what they're selling as to whether it makes sense or not to do that. Because if what you're selling is how to launch a program and you launch a program, like I think it makes total sense to then show your numbers and be like, this is the launch that you just watched me do. Like actually the way Bushra did it, I don't know if any of you saw her mass persuasion method launch.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was really good. Yeah.
Part of what I loved about it was how little, I mean, I was shocked how little she outsourced because I know she has her main consulting gig at the same time. But it was really interesting seeing like how she we saw her Facebook ads all over the place and the different ways she advertised. So like hearing about how much she spent on targeting and retargeting, pardon me, and then seeing kind of what the overall results were. And also because what she sells is persuasion, her methods for being persuasive, how to communicate and I feel like she does it in a very open and authentic way. Like obviously she's building a business. Like that was a really nice way to kind of see like, okay, I'm trying to help you do launches like this or sell products like this or start programs like this. So let me show you exactly what happened in mine. And I liked the way Denise Duffield-Thomas did it too, because, you know, she's done that a couple of times where she's opened up her books and shown us things. She doesn't show us everything, but I think because we can all do the math, see how many members are in her group, and we all know what it cost. Like I know what it cost when I joined, and I know what it costs to join now. Obviously, she's made more than $1 million in that group. Having her show us that she spent, you know, $200,000 paying her affiliates out, like that's a huge part of it. We know she paid 50% because a lot of us are her affiliates. Seeing what she paid on events and what she paid on advertising, like I found that pretty fascinating because I'm nowhere near that level in the business. So it's like, oh, so actually, sure, she made $1 million overall with this, but she paid out 50%. And out of that, you know, there's salary and stuff. It's not like $500,000 went directly to her. There's still other things going on in her business. Are you okay there, Jeanette?
Yes, I just feel so bad because you're talking and then there's a dog. I also have plumbers and I warned Jen ahead of time that my whole apartment's been torn up for a week. So there's a plumber in the bathroom and he's using some kind of noise. And then there's 2 ducks out here. I did warn you that it was okay.
It's all good.
I feel bad because I'm trying to listen and I don't want this to be disrupting anyone's experience. This is all such an interesting conversation. And I was just thinking for the first time last night that I'm excited to share about this launch, which wasn't a launch as far as, you know, it was done very quickly. I didn't have an official funnel set up. I've been learning Facebook ads as I go. It's a really low price product. So by the standards we're used to seeing in the group celebrated of 15K at 100K launches and 900,000 launches, this is a really teeny baby launch. You know, if I get my 100 people at $30, it's $3,000 before I pay taxes or any of that, or pay out any of the things that I've spent money on. So it's not, but I want to show people how this is actually a wild success for me. After 2 years out of the game, to come back and do this and to get it, not even just to make money on it, but to get it done and to get over the things that were holding me back. And to do battle with all of those things that were keeping me small. Like, this is actually a wildly successful launch, but it's a different criteria.
Well, I think we should be honest.
Jeanette. I love that you are owning that it is a success. And you know, it's like so much in our little world online, people are, you know, the success is only about the bottom line. And it is absolutely not. Because we are our own barriers to entry. We are the reason that we're in Lucky Bee, or, you know, we're in different groups trying to get over some of this stuff and being really vulnerable and just doing it anyway. And you should be really proud of yourself. That's awesome.
And even bottom line, this is a success, because what that money represents for me is another month that I pay for my apartment tonight. And not that I'm blocking my success or not thinking bigger, but this represents another month where I get to do this and not have to go look for a job. Yeah. And not that I'm limit myself or keeping myself in this little box, but this course now is the freedom for another month to keep plugging away, to keep hustling, or whatever word I put behind it. So it's been rather transformative for me without even getting to the part where the course starts. Like, I have jumped over a lot of hurdles to make this happen, and it feels I'm ready to celebrate.
You know what?
Yeah,
I think
good
a
for
lot
you.
of people are in that position, and for them to look at a 100K launch or a 500K launch or whatever, the distance between where they see themselves, like, I'm worried about paying rent this month, I'm emulating someone who's making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, that's too far a jump for them. Like, what applies to a $100,000 launch doesn't really apply to paying rent this month. Like, I think it's important for us to talk about that. Like, let's talk about how much you need to pay rent this month and buy food and do that. Like, that's what we have to cover first before we even think about these.
That's the real bottom line for some of us right now. And am I probably, by the standards of the marketing world that we live in, am I probably undercharging for this course? Yes. But I felt really solidly when I designed it that it was supposed to be accessible, and it was supposed to be a way to be seen and welcome in new people that I wouldn't have been able to at a higher price point. And it didn't make sense to me to come out of nowhere after 2 years of quiet and say, here, give me $500 of your money.
Or
no matter what I was providing. That didn't make sense to me or feel authentic or feel in alignment. This feels perfectly in alignment with what I'm offering, even though, I'm working my butt off to make it happen.
But, you know, when people get it, because I've seen the product, no one can argue that each page of that isn't worth $1. Like, come on. No one's going to be like, oh, my God, I got ripped off. That should have been $15 instead of $30.
You're my teacher right now.
Like, there's no way that's going to happen. It's definitely, it is worth way more than $30 for sure. But I kind of love the 30, 30, 30. And you're coming back. Like, you're getting seen. People are knowing what you're doing again. And the funny thing is with you, so because we've talked a lot, I know this, your list is way bigger than mine. Your followings on Twitter, you know, Facebook, all of it are way bigger than mine. But you haven't been selling to them in a long time, you know? So you have to regain your own confidence. You have to train them.
I didn't even get emailing them.
I know. Yeah, you need to, like, reactivate the connection there with them, because they're there. They ask to be in touch with you. They want what you have. They want to be involved in your world. So, like, just when we talked about your numbers, I was like, oh my gosh, so your 1 to 3% conversion is way bigger than mine. Like, because I have, I think my list is a quarter of yours, honestly. Like, you have a much bigger list than I do. So the potential, like, is totally there. And this seemed like a great way for you to ease back into it all.
And do you want to talk reluctant marketer? And keeping in mind that I help coach people on their marketing. And I think I do it really well. I still haven't officially emailed my list. I sent them a blog post with a CTA at the end, but I haven't actually emailed them about this product.
You know, I have to talk to you and Cate both about this, because you guys you're in my group. I love you guys. I follow you closely. Cate, the other day when you told me that you were selling this thing, I was like, oh, like, I knew you had the main the Sovereign Circles group. I knew that you'd been talking about a lot of things. I don't open every email. Like I told you guys, I probably have some of your guys' emails in this unopened email, and I'm sorry, but I didn't know that you were selling this group until you told me in Facebook Messenger. And I was like, how do I not know that? Because I keep tabs on you guys, you know?
Yeah,
so you guys,
I think that's... But I think because this kind of happened, you know, I decided 2 weeks before the new moon that, I could do it for the next new moon. And then I went, oh, crap, the next new moon's in 2 weeks. Okay, well, under all the paper, and then I pulled it out, and then but yeah, I agree. I got to do, you know, the thing is, I've got a list, but I wasn't emailing them either, which was kind of weird given that I've been online for, you know, a year. But I had, there's a whole range of reasons for that, so let's not even go into it. But I think that, I was sending out I just didn't want to be noisy about something that's not noisy. So I guess I was posting in my group and posting in other groups occasionally, and that was a good amount for me right then, because I was also trying to, you know, actually get the workbooks done and all the journals done and stuff, because they're really big. Like one's 30 pages and one's 33 pages and one's 24. So there's a lot of stuff that is going into those circles. Yeah, what was my point? Oh, Jeanette made a really good point. I wanted to pick up on it. It was no, Lisa brought it up. It was the thing about celebrating. I think the thing about those launches too, those big launches, is that people look at those, you know, successes, which, you know, are amazing, you know, but they don't think about it in the context of what they're doing. And so, you know, someone is willing to, you know, throw out $2,000 pretty quick when they think it's going to be a quick fix for their business. But the same person who probably needs to sort out their house, you know, where they're at inside themselves, all of that stuff, their money, they're not going to throw $2,000 at that really quickly. They're going to throw it somewhere else for a quick fix. And I think that, and so if I looked at some of those launches and went, I wish people, you know, jumped into my circle, so 1,000 people, that'd be really unrealistic. That would be stupid for me to think that, but I would think it because we all go through that comparison thing. So I think it's really important to look at what you're actually creating and then what you're comparing yourself to, because we've got really good habits of comparing ourselves to, it's like apples and oranges. Like I do it. We all do it. It's like, I'm not doing what she's doing. It's like, because you're not her. So just stop looking at her and just stay in your own lane and say, this number is really good for me. And I'm celebrating, you know, 90 or whatever people in that. That's amazing. I mean, that is truly amazing. And congratulations. That is just wonderful. And it's wonderful that people are actually choosing to do that for themselves. That's what I love, that people are choosing these things for themselves and realizing that there's some work to be done, or there's some unpacking to be done, that, you know, throwing a strategy on top of the kind of the clutter that are humans is not going to help in the long run. And so eventually they'll all come to you, Lisa, because, you know, we all know you've got to start in the space. But, I think we tend to compare ourselves and give ourselves a hard time about stuff that, you know, is unnecessary. But we do it because we need the money to pay rent or mortgage or whatever it is. And I totally understand that.
And very true. I think the reason I couldn't have a $50,000 or $100,000 launch right now is I have money work to do on myself that is going to have to be done before I can go out and pull that off authentically without it being completely out of alignment and without me like panicking the whole way along. I've still got work to do. And this little baby course is the first step of that. And working with Jen is another step of that. You know, there's things that need to happen before that stuff happens.
I do think sometimes people think, oh, I'll get to working on my money stuff when I have a lot of money, without
Exactly.
it's kind of like saying, I don't know, I'm trying to think of another example. Like I'll get to my parenting when my children are older. Like, I'll get to my, I feel like there's so many other things where you realize that you have to build up a system and build up your capabilities in it along the way. But a lot of people, I think especially lately, there's been sort of this rash of people really spending a lot of money on quick fix solutions, thinking, okay, well, I'll pay $25,000 for this thing, and 3 months from now, I'll be making $100,000, so I can just pay all that debt off without any plan to pay the debt off in the meantime in case it takes you longer to get to a $100,000 launch. I mean, just even looking at the list numbers and conversions, like Jeanette working with Infusionsoft, I'm sure you know that, like, in order to have a $100,000 launch with a $2,000 product, which, let's be honest, most of us cannot just throw $2,000 products onto the market. Like, you have to be a Marie Forleo, a Denise Duffield Thomas, a Ramit Sethi, someone who has a following, maybe a best-selling book, before you can throw that out and expect people who you haven't touched, interacted with directly, to buy it. But you still need, I mean, how many do you need? You need 50 people to buy it. If that's going to be 1%, you need at least a 5,000 person list to start with. And that's listed as warm leads. That's not cool. If you're paying for cold leads, it's an even bigger group of people to be able to expect the kind of conversion. So, like, that's something I don't know. I've talked to a few people, like Kendrick Shope and I talked about that too. Just like the expectation of how long it takes to get to $100,000 launch when that's the goal, and then how much it costs you. Like, I don't think it's the first thing people should be focusing on, really. Yeah. I think we need to be focusing on building some products and building relationships and working with people and getting a system so that our money isn't just flying out the door and our bills aren't being paid or our debts aren't being serviced where we need to. Yeah.
Because that's the other part that I have to do after bringing this money in, is actually not do the blind spending and the credit debt and all of these things that I've repeated over and over again through the years, or I'll just end up back in the same position. So I think there are some people out there who are doing that debt transparency with their numbers and providing, really great education, and watching them at work. I think, Jen, you know her, Jenna Sword.
So it kind of cut out for a second.
You know Jenna Sword? You Can Brand?
No, I don't.
She's fantastic, and she's got a new series coming out that I'm going to be following along in. But she's someone I can think of who's kind of, not just starting out, but she's not at the Marie Forleo level, but she's in the middle, and she's really transparent and really shares step by step what she's doing to get there. But she works her butt off. Like, I watch her, and the hours that she puts in and how dedicated she is. Like this week, a week that I have my kids, I don't have the actual hour ability to do that. And I know that Jen, I don't know, with the rest of you, what the situation is, but it's important to realize those people that are bringing in those numbers. And I think she had a really great launch with $1,000 product, but she has worked hard to get there. She didn't start out there, even if now when people are starting to find her name and see what she has coming up. So watching the trajectory of people like that who are really putting in the work is really empowering to me, I think. Instead of just seeing the overnight success where you don't know anyone and all of a sudden they're in the stratosphere. But there's a few people like her that I've watched really come up, and I've seen how many actual hours and how much actual work has gone into it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember watching Nikki Elledge Brown too, because she and I did B-School at the same time. I think we started. Mm-hmm. And I remember when she had no website and she was off. Right. Nikki Elledge Brown, she does a course about copy. And I remember almost asking her for one of those first early free calls. And I totally wish I had now. But you know what? I'm just realizing, guys, my little notification is popping up that I have another call because I scheduled a 1 o'clock today. Why am I doing this on a Tuesday? I should schedule things further apart, I think. That's one of my things I need to make space for. Space between calls and things. But this was such a great conversation. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm glad I recorded the whole thing this time. Yeah, Kate for getting up early, and Jeanette for getting out even with the plumber on, and Lisa for hopping over. Okay, I'm going to share it one more time. Let me tweet it out one more time before we go, so people will come over. We'll see what that GIF looked like. Always look funny. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you guys so much. Bye.
Bye.
If you want to find out more about joining Mastering Money Matters yourself, go to my website, jenturrell.com, and click on the Mastering Money Matters button in the navigation bar.
Being around you, because people just feel what you're sharing, right? Like people feel certain ways around you. You don't have to do anything to live your purpose. They just